What's up guys, this is Snutz from Complexity Red, and in this video I'll be playing the composition Rogue Mage Priest versus the composition PhD, which is Pally Hunter Death Knight. The general strategy to beating PhD is to mainly just train the Death Knight. This is the most common strategy and the only strategy I like to do the best because it minimizes their damage to the point where they can never touch a target really. Because just the hunter does so much damage that if you don't lock out one of the DPS, it's really hard to keep up with the healing. And with the amount of cooldowns that the hunter has of getting away from the rogue, it's really hard to minimize his damage. So yeah, that's why I like to train the Death Knight. Swaps to the hunter really work as well. If you're able to land stuns on the hunter and a disarm out of it, the dismantle that the rogue gives, you could score a kill pretty easily, but most likely your vanishes will always fail, so it's kind of rare that you will swap to the hunter, but if you do, just make sure it's a good one with a CC onto the pally. CCs onto the pally is the most important thing, is because when your mage is able to get full sheeps onto the pally after his 2 sacks, his trinket, and his bubble, that's when you start to win the game. So my job as the healer is to just keep everyone topped off until the pally is stuck in full sheeps after his cooldowns. Forcing trinkets from the hunter, the Death Knight, and the paladin is important as well, because if you blind the hunter, he'll either have to trinket it or he'll get bopped out of it. So it's pretty much bop is gone and trinket is gone. If you're trading Death Knight, he's eventually gonna have to trinket a kidney shot, and if you're CCing the pally, he's gonna have to eventually trinket a polymorph or a fear. Triple DPS is really important as well. If you're free to just DPS as a priest and no one is really dying, casting a ton of DPS with your mage and your rogue will force a ton of cooldowns out of the pally. It may even force a bubble really early or a trinket really early as well, because even with his sacks, just small CCs and interrupts onto the heal, can cause a kill onto the Death Knight or the hunter. Some general tips for this comp is to, like I've said before, just try your best to assist DPS with Holy Fire into Smite spam, and Dispelling Sacred is really important as well. If you're keeping the Sacred Shield off the hunter or the Death Knight, the pally won't have his globals really to keep it up most of the times with the amount of CCs that the mage can put out, so Dispelling Sacred will always help. Fears that stick is really crucial, because if you get a full fear onto the hunter, it'll minimize so much damage and you're able to DPS or just top your teammates off. And if you get a fear onto the pally and the hunter, it'll for sure force a trinket or a bubble out of the pally. Try your best, it's not that important, but try your best to remove bubble with Master Spell. If you can remove a bubble from the pally and your mage is able to CC the pally after the bubble with counter spells, defreezes, or polymorphs, then you guys should win your matchup really easily after that. But if you don't have the globals or just the cast time to remove the bubble, don't stress it. Just keep everyone alive until the pally runs out of cooldowns. The last thing is, like I've said, is just to keep everyone topped off. It's really hard against PhD because aim shot from the hunter, just dots from the Death Knight, and just cleave damage from everything. Scatter traps onto you and hodges onto you. Even silencing shots onto your penances will make you guys fall behind really easily. So using Binding Heal against his team will just help a bit. It's not gonna win the game for you guys, but yeah, like I've said, using Binding Heal will keep 2 targets topped off while penancing the other target. So now that you guys have seen the strategies and tips I use to beating PhD, I'll be playing 2 matchups actually with commentary and pauses to show you guys exactly what we do to beat this comp. Our strat going into this matchup was just to open on the Death Knight, but right here he puffs his Icebound really early, so we're forced to get on the hunter because Icebound lasts like 10 seconds, and by the time my rogue opens onto the Death Knight, my mage is probably gonna be dead by then. So just try and open the hunter when he pops Icebound. If you can't, just wait out the Icebound. The Death Knight is Nova right now, the Pally is sheeped, and right here we're just triple DPSing onto the Hunter. Like I said in my tips and strategies, that this is really important. And right here, my rogue kidney shots the Hunter, and he dismantles on top of it, so that when the Hunter trinkets the kidney shot, he is unable to deterrence, and we could still pump in tons and tons more damage onto the Hunter because of it. I use my penance onto the Hunter to do a lot of damage, and right here I have to start topping up my mage. He gets gripped, but MS falls off my mage, so I'm able to top him. I'm just gonna start playing offensive again. My rogue gets hodged behind the pillar, and I'm unable to dispel him with my dispel magic button. So I cast a master spell near the pillar, so that I'm able to dispel his hodge out of LOS. I'm hodding everyone up, and this is where I have to start playing offensive because we know that we're gonna score a kill. So I casted MD onto the Pally, and I fear him out of it. But the Hunter already died before because even through Bop, the Hunter is unable to deterrence, and we're still able to do damage to him with Envenom, Dots, and Frostbolts from the Mage. So now that you guys have seen that matchup with commentary and pauses, I'll be playing it again in real time. I'll be playing this matchup again on Blade's Edge Arena, where it isn't that easy. It's against the same team, but on a map like Blade's Edge Arena, where we're just perma load the whole time, it's really tough. Once again, the Death Knight pops his Icebound really early to avoid the cheap shot, and because it's Blade's Edge Arena, we're just forced to just wait out the Icebound until my rogue could get the cheap shot, because if we were to go for the Hunter here, we'd have to dodge the Desecration, the Death and Decay, and the Flare from the Hunter. So it's really hard to get an opener on the Hunter, especially on this map. The Pally was in a sheep just now, but he was able to get sacrificed up before the sheep, so I decided to just fear him, and it'll completely just neglect sacrifice. After the fear onto the Pally, we start triple DPSing onto the Death Knight, but my mage falls behind on HP, and I gotta start topping up here. I use a ton of cooldowns there, just like Trinket and Bobble onto my mage because I started DPSing the Death Knight, so you gotta be aware of when to DPS and when not to. Right here, I'm just casting a ton of binding heals because everyone is in danger. And like I've said, just try your best to just keep everyone topped off with binding heal and penances on the other target. The Pally is stuck in a bubble right now, and I get my master spell silenced by the Hunter. And on the third try, I finally get off the bubble. My mage almost dies, and we use our pain suppression and block at the same time. So right here, we're already so far behind because we use two cooldowns at the same time. And I'm no longer just able to DPS anymore. I'm just have to heal everything I can with binding heals. I'm just trying to top my rogue at this point, and myself as well. I get strangulated, and I'm finally able to top off the rogue. The Pally's stuck in a sheep, and we're able to kill the Death Knight. So now that you guys have seen that matchup with commentary and pauses, I'll be playing it again in real time. PhD is one of the harder cleave setups for an RMP to beat because of the amount of damage they put out and the fast swaps that they can do as well. I would say that PhD is a lot harder than Beast Cleave. Well, a lot of people would say it's a lot harder than Beast Cleave because as soon as you start getting Beast Cleave down, it really isn't that hard. But against PhD, no matter how much practice you get against it, it's always a hard matchup with the amount of pressure they put out. So I hope you guys liked my video. I hope it helped you out a bunch. This is Snutz from Red, and thanks for watching.